inspired to push through. Because there's a spark in you. Breakthrough or bust.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to Breakthrough or Bust. I am Kalua, and I am so glad that you are here. Okay, so I'm doing story time today. It's just going to be me, and I'm going to tell the story of the bay leaf. So I will get to what that means. So not long ago, I actually decided to step up my game. I realized I had become comfortable, and that I was hiding in some ways. And I was really getting a lot of messages from the universe that it was time to step up and be seen. And I decided to listen because, when you don't listen to the universe, things don't always go well. So I decided to go ahead and listen, and I got into some coaching and doing some things to, really get past all of this fear of being seen stuff. And in doing so, I did some inner child work. And one of the things that really came up for me as I was really exploring, I knew I had, and I recently talked about it in in a live and some other stuff. Just I had some things with my voice, and so many messages being told to be quiet and to shush, and do you think before you speak, all of these things basically, to my little brain saying, we don't want to hear what you have to say. And for years and years, I really took that to heart and found myself, silencing myself in many ways, which might be hard to believe, but there was more to be said than I was even saying. So, I knew that was there. I had been working on that, but there was still more to the hiding. And as I did this work on myself, one of the things that I really noticed was that it was oftentimes the women in my life that were the ones that were the most, I almost think of like, when a mother dog, right, with her puppies, she nips at them, kind of like that. And I thought, wow, of all the people, why the women? And I remember my father being very, here I am with this outspoken child, very precocious, and my dad did not really stifle me at all. Like, he almost encouraged me. But then I got to about 16, 17, and then even he was like, oh, I should have let your mother have, more say on your mouth, kind of thing, because, oh, here I am now, I'm a young woman and I'm too opinionated, right? So now it was funny when I was a kid, but now I'm a young woman, and get in your place is almost what I felt like. And I started thinking, right? And it reminded me of an experience I had, and it was about bay leaves. Okay, so here's where I'm going to wrap up the bay leaf thing. For years and years, I would just put a bay leaf in my red sauce when I made sauce, right? And I just put it in out of habit. You're taught to throw a bay leaf in there. And for years and years, I did that. I threw the bay leaf in there. And I don't know why, but I never questioned it. And then all of a sudden, all these many, many years later, all of a sudden I was like, why? Why do I put a bay leaf in there? And I asked my mother, I remember asking my mom, and she was like, well, for the flavor. I don't taste anything. And I know for sure that I have forgotten to put a bay leaf in there many a times, either ran out or just forgot. And I didn't notice a difference in the flavor at all. So it can't be that. So finally, I did some research and I learned that bay leaves are what really, they're a great way to kickstart digestion. And so it's a really great thing to have in a heavy meal. What do we usually put red sauce on? Like some pasta, or you know what I mean? Heavy, that's a heavy meal. And so here it was, this like old wisdom that had been passed down and down and down and down till didn't even know why. Like, what was the reason? What was the point of it? And then in that case, it turned out, oh, okay, this is like for my benefit. This is a good thing. So I started to think about that and how it sort of made sense that the women in my life were the ones who are, you know, kind of shutting me down, telling me, they weren't so much telling me to play small, but they kind of, you know, it was sort of inferred. And I started to realize that it wasn't their intention. It was just this thing where it was passed down, just like the bay leaf. It was passed down and it was passed down and it was passed down and it was passed down till we don't even know why we're doing it anymore. And when you think about long generations ago, women were expected to be in their place. And it could be dangerous to not be in your place. You know, if you stepped out of line, you could have been put back in line, you know, either through physical or sexual assault. And I mean, that's the truth. For many years, you know, in the history of being a woman, we were dependent on men. We couldn't have a bank account until the 70s without permission from a man, you know. So there was a lot of ways, you know, at a certain point you couldn't work, you couldn't have money, you couldn't buy a house, you were not allowed to be independent. You were meant to be in your place, dependent on a man, or, you know, whether it be your father or a husband or, you know, whoever. And so I believe that women taught their children, because let's face it, I think every young girl is born speaking her mind. I really do. You know, having been around children, I taught dance class for so many years, and around lots of, you know, the little girls, and the things that come out of their mouths are hilarious. And I think that the mother figures, the grandmother figures, you know, the different women in their lives sort of, you know, that puppy nipping, like, watch it, you know, stay in place. And again, I think it's that passed down, you know, what we've just been taught to do from a place of protection, from a place of love. We wanted, you know, women wanted to keep their daughters, their granddaughters, you know, these girls, these young ladies safe. You know, they were doing it out of love. But now times have changed. And I know for sure, like, when my daughter was born, it was almost like that's when all of those messages kicked in, like, be quiet. And I found myself raising her to not rock the boat, like, shh, you know, be quiet, don't piss people off, basically. And because I didn't want her to have to go through what I went through, as far as being silenced and stifled. And, you know, I was trying to protect her. And then I caught myself, luckily. I caught myself and I'm like, what am I doing? You know, and I changed things, and I'm still, you know, I'm still like crazy exposing her to stuff so that she is confident in using her voice and knowing that everything she says has value and that she should be seen as much as she wants. And I think it's just an important realization. And I think it's really important for us to have grace on ourselves and on the people maybe who have done this to us, because again, it initially came from a place of love and protection and them keeping you safe. But times have changed, thankfully, right? And we're continuing to be part of the change. And as we are part of the change, maybe we still have those old patterns that have been programmed into us, but we want to catch them, right? It's okay to be wrong. I think that's a big part of where we as a culture sort of fail. Like sometimes we will hold on to stuff kicking and screaming because God forbid we be wrong. But being wrong is good because that's how we learn. You think about all of the stuff, like think about all the tests you've taken over the years. Do you remember all the right answers you got, or you remember the wrong ones? You're like, damn it, I knew that, and you will never forget the wrong one. So those are your biggest lessons. Those are the ones that are meant for you to remember. So if you kind of knee jerk reaction, follow that programming and you catch yourself, you don't have to hold on to it kicking and screaming. You can just say, oh, I caught that. I was wrong. Okay, that's all right. I love myself. I forgive myself. That's old programming. And now I'm going to flip the script. I'm going to change it. And, coming at things from a place of love and kindness and forgiveness for others and for yourself, and having that awareness is just how we're going to make that change, how we're going to show up differently in our lives. Oh, my love, I know that we're like, I just feel this energy of, healing the feminine, the collective feminine. And I always say that healing the feminine does not just benefit women, it benefits men too. We all have feminine and masculine. And as we heal the feminine, we are healing men and women. We are healing the collective. And I just feel this energy of us being in this place to really heal this now. And so as we do, again, remembering that, we've been programmed for a long, long time. And that's okay. So now, as we start to question things, well, why did I advise that? Why did I behave like that? Why did I, question everything, and then start to see? And you know what? Maybe if you did something the way you didn't want to, oh man, that's okay. Next time, I will get it differently. I will, and I use this as an example. Sometimes, somebody pays you a compliment and your reaction is, oh, no, and, or they offer you help. Oh, no. Well, if you catch yourself doing that right there in the moment, you can stop and say, oh, thank you. I'm sorry. Yes, I received that. I receive what you're saying. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And just, really starting to change it with each little behavior, with each little interaction. And the more that you do it for yourself, the more you give permission to other people to do the same. And it just ripples, it spreads. So I hope that this is helpful for you. Oh, please reach out. I would love to share your story. Come join me on Breakthrough or Bust. And remember, just keep pushing through because there's a spark in you. All right. I will see you next time. Bye.